I want to give you the heads up. Never question God. When you're about to transition from one career move, one relationship, or one situation to the next, it's because you've gotten every confirmation in the world that it's your season to transition from where you are to where you're looking to be.
Don't underestimate yourself. You do what you can do, and God will do what you can't do. Take the initiative. Throw your net on the other side. Be ambitious. Reach. Ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. And expect things to get better for you.
It is with the mind that we serve the Lord. The mind is the battleground. It is the place where the greatest conflict is. There are more people in this room having trouble in their mind than there are people having trouble in their finances.
Every thought that I have started with a question. What's wrong with me? Let me tell you what happens when you ask that question. That question will attract 1,000,000 answers. The moment you say, what's wrong with me? The devil has a list, everything. He'll show you everything from your genetics to your jawline to everything. I mean, he'll just take everything. But your questions direct the integrity of your thoughts.
The struggle is in your mind. Slept 8 hours and you wake up still tired. Your mind has been in turmoil all night long. You've been wrestling in your sleep. Your body went to sleep, but your mind is still caught up in a warfare. Your mind is the battleground.
Just because people let you down, don't give up on God, who never will. Just because you lost a job, don't stop trusting that God is my provider.
When someone closes a door in your face, God allows them to close the door in your face. All God wants you to do is walk up the hall. Because I can promise you, he got a better door that he wants you to go through than the one that got shut in your face. That's a fact. The door is closed for a reason. Because God just wants you to walk up the hall because he got another door. And when you open it and get behind it, you ain't gonna believe what's back there. But you will never get to it if you stand in front of that door crying. God is the creator of all doors. I'm gonna just go see what else he got for me.
You think things are gonna just go your way? Well, they're not gonna just go your way. You gotta make them go your way. You think things are gonna just happen for you? Well, they're not just gonna happen for you. You gotta make them happen.
So I want to challenge you to waste no more effort wrestling with other people. Your destiny, your future is not predicated on the decision of someone else. You wasted too much of your life trying to change other people's mind about you. It doesn't matter what they think about you. God is not going to bless you by their opinion. God is going to bless you by how you see yourself.
Just start acting like you're blessed, talking like you're blessed, thinking like you're blessed, dressing like you're blessed. If you will put actions behind your faith, one day you will see that become a reality. You cannot go around thinking that you've reached your limits. You're going to become what you believe. You are fully equipped. It may not have happened in your past, but it can happen in your future. Now, I'm asking you to go get what belongs to you. You are blessed. You are prosperous. Start acting like it, talking like it, dreaming like it.
People who have not accepted greatness for themselves, these people don't study, ladies and gentlemen. They don't have time for personal growth and development. They don't have time to work on their minds. People can affect us. Our peers can affect us. Our environment can affect us. Just working consciously to overcome the poverty consciousness, the feeling constantly of saying you deserve this. There's no need for you to be afraid. It's not too good to be true. It's true because you've earned it.
Why do we care so much about people who don't care about us? That won't be there in the hard times, that won't be there when you hit rock bottom, that won't be there in your struggle, that never call you and ask you how you doing, that never calls you and asks your checks on you to see if you need something. Why do we care about what they think?
We all go through disappointments and things that are not fair. It's easy to hold on to the hurts, think about what they said. We get up in the morning, it's the first thing that comes to mind. We don't realize how much that's affecting us, draining our energy, limiting our creativity. If you're going to fulfill your destiny, you have to get good at letting things go.
See, your unwillingness to forgive another person is like you sipping the poison, waiting on them to die. Forgiveness is for you. You can't drive your car looking in the rearview mirror. You can't. There's a reason why the rearview mirror is this big and the windshield is this big. If you keep looking in the rearview mirror, you're going to keep crashing your car.
Have you ever noticed that when your faith is the strongest, you come up under the greatest attack? Because every time the devil senses that you're about to walk into who you be, and he's trying to stop you from doing it, slap somebody and say, just do it.
Be great before it's too late. Being in a great house does not make you great. It's one thing to have great parents, but that doesn't make you great. And they said it's possible to be in a great house, but you not be great. So being in a great house does not ensure that you'll become great.
How can you keep your mind on what you're trying to do? How can you make the choice of discipline over procrastination? How can you keep an attitude of doing it all and doing it now? How can you stay focused on your ambitions? You can keep your focus on your work, or you'll find yourself distracted. Distracted by negative thoughts, distracted by negative people, and pretty soon, depending on the type of people you've associated with, distracted by your doubts within yourself.
Even when you face rejection, even when you face failure, you make a decision. I will remain in the grind. I'm not backing down. I'm called to make a difference.
Greatness is not immediate. This is so important. In other words, greatness takes time to develop. Greatness is not immediate. You got to stay with it. You got to stay at it. You got to keep working on it. We give up too quickly.
You map out, you think, you strategize, you change up your team, ready for the opportunity to present itself. Most of y'all are impatient. If it doesn't happen as fast as you want it to happen, you say maybe it wasn't meant to be. God will never give you something somebody else is supposed to have.
I want you to write this down. There are two powers in life that every one of us have to deal with every day, that you can never control or stop. It's time and change. You cannot control time. You cannot control change.
What's at the core of achieving the good life? The major key to the good life. It is not in mastering the attributes of leadership. Every day in 1,000 different ways, we are trying to improve ourselves by learning how to do things. We spend a lifetime gathering knowledge in classrooms and in experiences.
Self-approval. That's a very challenging area. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where most people get stuck. That's a stage that a lot of people get there and they never move out of that area. Why? Many things can contribute to our not approving our dreams, our not feeling good enough. A lot of things can contribute to that. Many of us never live up to our potential or don't approve ourselves because we never had anybody to believe in us.
And because your doing doesn't come from the deeper place of being, it hasn't worked for you. If you're trying to find out who you are by doing things, you will never find out who you are by doing. You'll have to start with being, because the difference between the two determines the direction of your destiny.
I need to embrace the suffering. You know, there's something powerful that once you just sort of embrace the fact that in order to achieve something big, you've got to get rid of these distractions, you're probably going to have some suffering to get there or some sacrifice to get there. And so once you've embraced and decided that this suffering, this sacrifice you're making is an indicator of progress. Suffering and sacrifice and hard work is an indication of progress towards our dreams.
So easy. So easy to put things off. So easy to say, you're going to do it tomorrow. Well, I want you to reprogram your brain and tell yourself that tomorrow is not a viable option. You do it today. You get it done today. That's what you do.
The journey is just the pieces that you have to go through. And you get to choose to enjoy those pieces, to have fun during those pieces. Because you know you're going to come out the other end, being the person you wanted to be. And you're going to see it before everybody else does. That I can guarantee you.
When we go around dwelling on these negative, defeated thoughts, we are sending poison down through our system. We are telling our command center, the mind, this incredible tool God's given us to release defeat, failure, mediocrity.
I wish for you that you might develop a growing awareness of the world around you and your possibilities in it. Develop a sense of history and destiny, and be grateful for the opportunity that you have to participate in that grand endeavor. Start the daily action of first cleaning up all your current situations. Remember, little achievement leads to confidence that conquers guilt. Then buy up every challenge to reach your goal. You can now handle it. The winter, the spring, the harvest, the inspiration from it all, and the immediate and future progress that will someday give you a view from the top of your goals, your adventure, and your achievement.
When you get up in the morning, no matter how you feel, you need to say, I am strong, healthy, energetic. I have discipline and self-control. I look good, I feel good, I think good, I smell good. Some of you, if you would do that, your mind would go tilt, tilt, tilt. It would think, what in the world are they saying? It would send an alert all through your system saying, hang on guys, we're changing directions. Don't send out any more defeat. This is a new day. Send out health, send out healing, send out strength, vitality, victory. You've got to get your command center sending out the right instructions.
The people that are going to be successful are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. What is it that most people won't do? Here's what they won't do. Learn something new. They're comfortable with what they're doing now. Learn something new. You need to learn how to control your own destiny. Be your own boss. That's what time it is.
Most of the time, your challenge is you're not solving it quickly enough. You're not getting totally certain. Certainty is so huge. Flood yourself with certainty. And then most people don't understand. You can obliterate most problems with just massive action. I see people hem and haw and make excuses all the time when challenges arise, and it would have just been solved if you'd have decided, you'd have been totally certain, and you'd obliterate that problem with some massive action.
How great to have a mind to expand and a soul to nourish, to have hands that can feel, a heart that can experience, a soul that can soar, a mind that can inquire and learn, a body that can respond, to know love, sadness, hope, disappointment, accomplishment, failure, thrills, appreciation, wonder, frustration, confidence, courage, impatience, contentment, expectation, fulfillment, beauty, and harmony. To have all this happen to one is one thing. To know it is all happening is much more.
What stress really is when a problem comes up is the fear of loss. And what you do is you begin to give this a disempowering meaning, and you begin to feel like you're going to lose something. which is why having a process means so much to me, because when I know I have a process to solve a problem, I'm so much less fearful of the loss or the stress that it's going to cause me. When you begin to get these feelings, it's where your focus is going that's causing this stress level to rise in you. And my hallucination for many of you is that when a problem arises, you begin to focus on the problem more than the solution. You begin to magnify your stress level, make a disempowering meaning, which is this fear you're going to lose something.
If you're still wounded over a position you lost, you'll go to that new company defensive, not friendly. You're treating them based on what you've been through, but they had nothing to do with it. It's much more freeing when you learn to let things go. God will be your vindicator. He'll take care of who did you wrong. It's not your job to pay people back. They hurt you once, don't let them continue to hurt you by holding on to it.
It's easy to say, I have a dream. That's easy. You can say that when the enthusiasm is there. You can say that when you have enough money in the bank. But I'm telling you, it's hard to say, I still have a dream. I still have a dream. Can't you say that after your friends turn on you, and after the people that you're doing it for stop believing in you?
Discouragement is deadly. It can get you off track. When you have a setback and you get discouraged, you can get set on the shelf. We all get discouraged. It's powerful. It is universal. It involves everybody, and it is recurring. It doesn't just happen one time in your life.
Many of us never ever discover our greatness because we become sidetracked by secondary activity. We start doing so many things, we just give our time away until we don't have any time for ourselves or any time to do the things that we want to do. I'm saying to you that one day you look around and there goes a year, there goes 2 years, there goes 3 years. So if there's something you want to do it now.
A man's life consists in how he managed time and change. We become what we are as a result of how we use time and how we manage the changes in our lives.
Our mind comes as standard equipment at birth, and things that are given to us for nothing we place little value on. Things that we pay money for, we value. The paradox is that exactly the reverse is true. Everything that's really worthwhile in life came to us free. Our mind, our body, our hopes, our dreams, our ambitions, our intelligence, all these priceless possessions are free, but the things that cost us money are actually very cheap and can be replaced at any time.
Use your power to create a new beginning for yourself. Find something that you love. I didn't come here to work for someone else. I came here to live my calling. A job is what you get paid for. A calling is what you're made for. I invested in myself. I couldn't afford to do it, but I couldn't afford not to do it.
All disciplines carry through to affect all parts of our lives. If we're disciplined in just one area and lazy in another, guess what? The bad habits in one area of our life will eventually destroy our self-discipline in the areas we've been working on. Discipline is a set of standards which we've selected as a personal code of conduct. Discipline is the mind being trained to control our lives. Discipline is imposing on ourselves the requirements for honoring these standards.
The most fatal deterrent to self-confidence is guilt. Not doing all you know how to do to the full extent of your present ability weakens the foundation for confidence. The biggest part of worry comes from the lack of this personal confidence. And lack of confidence comes from two major things. First, no goals or plans. And second, no daily discipline to achieve. So listen to the voices of creative experience. Let nature, experience, wisdom speak to you and teach you. Remember, both opportunity and challenge await action.
You can work on micro habits with regards to your conscientiousness, and I think the best micro habits, set up some aims for yourself, goals that you actually value. It helps you do a situational analysis of your life more than a psychological analysis, I would say. And so the questions are something like, well, you're going to have to put some effort into your life.
We become what we think about. Conversely, the man who has no goal, who doesn't know where he's going, and whose thoughts must therefore be thoughts of confusion and anxiety and fear and worry, becomes what he thinks about. And if he thinks about nothing, he becomes nothing.
Motivation is kind of a strange word. We think it means that we're fired up to do something and passionate to make something happen. Because you just can't turn on passion. You can't just turn on the desire to execute a task.
Be certain of one thing. Every exaggeration of the truth, once detected by others, destroys our credibility and makes all that we say and do suspect. The tendency to exaggerate, distort, or even withhold the truth is an inherent part of all of us. It starts when we're kids, and then it continues when we're adults, exaggerating our net worth to impress old friends, exaggerating how close we are to closing a deal to impress the boss.
If you make it to the end of this video, I want you to write, I am determined to reach my goals. I am determined to reach my goals.
Why don't you show the world who you really are? Many of us secretly feel like we have so much less to offer than what people expect. And that even when people compliment us, we figure that the reason that they're complimenting us is because they don't really see us for who we are.
If you take the lead, you will become a target. But just because they're shooting at you doesn't mean they shot you. In fact, some of you should rejoice in the fact that somebody has emptied out their quiver of arrows shooting at you, and you are still here.
Most of y'all have visions and ideas that are sent to you, and you're trying to explain it to other people, and because they were never sent the vision, most of y'all say, well, maybe it's not meant to be. That was something that God sent you. That was your vision, your idea. It's not his or not hers. So what ends up happening is your family, your friends, they end up talking you out of your individual experience that you have with God.
I think that among the things that prevent us from acting is the fear of failure. And if you've already failed, you don't want to fail again, the pain of that. The fear of loss is another thing. Because many times when we do those things that we know we need to do, we feel that we might lose somebody. Many of us don't act because we want other people's approval, and that's not possible. Many of us don't do the things that we want to do and don't act because of lack of self-confidence. We don't believe enough in ourselves.
Watch out for we's, because people will control you with a we, and you will miss your opportunity trying to be loyal to the we, and all of a sudden, in order to fit in your sociological environment, you passed up the promotion, you passed up the position that you wanted to take because you want the people you're sitting beside to like you and accept you.
The little decisions that you make, they matter. They add up, and you have to connect those dots. Otherwise, you don't know where you're going to end up, and it might be bad.
I just beat me. This ain't about nobody else. I just beat me. If I can keep beating myself, pause, if I can keep doing that, then that means that I'm in a battle with the only person that I really want and beat, and that's me. I don't care about anybody else. I have no worry or gripe about the next man or woman's journey. That's not what I'm up against. If I can continue to outdo me from the day before, then I'm ahead.
What we wish we had done is the voice of regret, speaking in a sorrowful tone at a time when there is no going back. This is regret.
Why do we live our life to be validated so much by strangers? Why do we let these people dictate how we feel about ourselves? Our self-esteem, our worth depends on if they like it or not. Who cares? Those people ain't gonna be there when times get hard. Those people don't even like you. Half of them don't. Those people don't really care about you.
When you're about to make those extreme jumps and leaps, it's always going to be your friends and your family. They will be the first ones to try and talk you out of what God has put on your heart to do.
If you got anything left, you ought to stop right where you are and give God some praise. I made some mistakes, but I got something left. I almost died, but I got something left. Been through a divorce, but I got something left. Had to send my children back home, but I got something left. Moved back here with my mama, but I got something left.
I don't know what kind of odds are against you today, physically, financially. I don't know what kind of storm has come or trying to come into your life. If you wait too long to decide what you're going to do with your life, you'll find out that you've already done it. You have to learn to start where you are. Big doors swing on little hinges.
When you start renaming it and you start reframing it and you choose to remain in it, what happens is you produce this word. It's called resiliency. The righteous man, he falls 7 times, but he gets back up. I'm choosing today to get back up, to remain in the grind.
We all have these tough moments in life. And see, they can make you or they can break you. Come on now, come on, bring it, come on now. I had to replace fearfulness with being fearless and take the initiative to do something else with my life.
Greatness is not inherited. It's not the result of birth, in other words. You can be born high and live low. Or you can be born low, but you can still live high. Your greatness is not determined by your pedigree or the family that you are born into. Your parents can be great and you can be a dummy.
The key to your future is the successful management of time and change. You can't stop time, so all you can do with them is manage them. And you become what you are based on how you manage both of them.
All the rearview mirror does is allows you to see what you've passed and to prevent what you've passed from coming up on you again. The windshield is your future. It's where you're going. It's where you're headed. I hope you all picked up this today. And think about that, how that affects your life.
Don't dilute the vision and don't pollute it with how you want it. Don't weaken it by diluting it. Don't pollute it by adding to it. Some of the people you're trying to straighten out, they're not going to ever be straightened out. They're chickens when you're supposed to be sailing with the eagles. And that chicken with all that gawking and flapping ain't going to never fly. And you just chasing behind something that's not going to ever jump over 4 feet in the air. You could have been soaring with eagles and you're fooling with them chickens. They're chickens. Feed them and keep on walking.
Enlightened self-interest needs to be educated. I will learn that life is not just the passing of time. I will learn that life is the collection of experiences, highs and lows, laughter and tears. You must decide to act. You must have the discipline to act. One discipline affects another discipline. Everything affects everything else. Nothing stands alone.
Every time you learn something new, you push something old out of your brain. See, a lot of people don't want to learn now, and that's okay. That's none of your business, none of my business. But if you're one of those like me, hungry, people that are hungry are willing to learn. You're keeping your mind active because you're engaged in this thing called life. You still have a presence. You're a force to be reckoned with. You have greatness in you. Yes, I'm going for it. There are more lives for me to touch, more lives for me to transform.
If you only knew all the things God has refused to let happen to you. You may have had some bad breaks, but just the fact that you're still here is a sign God's favor is on your life. There may be obstacles trying to stop you now. You don't understand it. It's because there's greatness in you. The enemy doesn't come against people that don't have anything. If you weren't a threat, he'd leave you alone. Yes, I have big obstacles, but I know it's because I have a big destiny. Had some bad breaks, but they could not finish me off. I'm still standing.
Many times when God starts training you, he trains you with trouble, exposing you to various degrees of frustrating situations and then critiquing your response so that you can learn how you should have handled this particular situation.
Step back and ask yourself the question, what do I do that's absolutely amazing? What do I do that's effortless to me? And what makes me feel confident? Figure that out. Whatever that may be, hold on to that and focus in on that and anchor into it. So when you do go into this new skill, realize it's a process, just like the other skills you've learned on your journey. The more you practice something, the better you get at it.
Now do your part. Stay in faith. Don't go around complaining about what didn't work out, what you didn't get. God will make up for what was unfair. He will pay you back for the wrongs that were done. He's a God of justice.
We all get the same amount in a day. Every day is 24 hours. And some people are very, very fruitful and effective, and some people just waste their time day after day after day. And that's a choice that we make. But there's one thing about time. Once it goes by, you never get it back. So how tragic it is to waste any day of your life. I think we need to live every day like it was our very last one and live it to the absolute fullest that we can live it.
Commit yourself to learning. Feed your mind. Sharpen your interest in two major subjects, life and people. Learn more on how to get the most from life. Learn all that you can so that you can become all that you can become. Learning is the beginning of a life worth living. Learning is the beginning of happiness. Learning is the beginning of spirituality and faith. Learning and searching is where the process of creating your own personal miracle begins.
Greatness does not have to have the approval of everyone. And if you are the kind of person that will have to have the approval of everyone and understanding of everyone, you'll never achieve greatness. Greatness is uncommon. Greatness is not something that you see a lot. It distinguishes you from the crowd. It makes you stick out when you become great.
Disappointments will come. Betrayals, things that are not fair will come. How you deal with these offenses will determine whether you move forward or whether you get stuck, bitter over what didn't work out.
We find ourselves announcing our standards to our relatives, our friends, our associates. We shout our beliefs and condemn those who believe any differently, but then we don't walk the talk. Do as I say, not as I do. This is inconsistent. This leads to a loss of credibility among those who watch us.
If you have a support system in place, that's beautiful. I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't really see what you see, but I'm in full support of you. Go make it happen. But in most cases, if you open up your mouth trying to explain to people what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, they will be the first people to try and talk you out.
Find somebody close enough to you that has observed you or been around you that you value their opinion, and ask them how do they see you, and then compare what you have with what they say. See, there are things many times that people can see in us that we can't see because it's a blind spot.
If you're always seeking a certain status to validate who you are, you're never going to have peace. You can't climb up to find yourself. You have to find yourself so you can climb up. So you can be who you are before anybody knows who you are.
Our dreams, the lack of sacrifice, the lack of suffering in our lives, its removal, its non-existence also equates to a non-existence of a great life. And so embrace the fact that you're going to have to sacrifice and suffer to some extent. Once you've embraced that it's going to happen, it's almost not that bad. It's kind of like those of you that are fit. You've sort of accepted that before you go to the gym and get there, you're going to have to suffer. And we go anyway. It becomes a habit.
It takes discipline to change a habit, because habits are formed a little bit each day, every day. Once habits are formed, they act like a giant cable that only long-term disciplined activity can change. It takes the consistent application of a new discipline, a more desirable one, to overcome one which is less desirable. We must unweave every strand of the cable of habits slowly and methodically.
If it does not measure up to my expectations, I'm not going to invest my time. I don't have the luxury to waste time. I'm expecting some great things from life. So examine your expectations versus your wishes. Some people wish they could do better, but some people expect to do better. Where are you on that?
I've learned life is full of wounded people. People that haven't dealt with the negative things in their past. At times they'll be disrespectful. You can't stop the offense from coming, but you can keep it from getting down in you. How much more could you accomplish if you would start letting things go? How much better relationships would you have if you would get emotionally healthy? If you would let go of what people said?
Time is an amazing power. Every day, week, month, or year is a gift given to us by God to complete a task.
The human mind isn't used merely because we take it for granted. Familiarity breeds contempt. It can do any kind of job we assign to it, but generally speaking, we use it for little jobs instead of big important ones. Decide now, what is it you want? Plant your goal in your mind. It's the most important decision you ever make in your entire life.
Oh, when you give as much time and energy to your dream, to this new vision of yourself, I'll give you all your eyes can see. When you give as much time and energy to what you see, that creates the opening for miracles to show up.
Do you want to be an outstanding salesman, a better worker at your particular job? Do you want to go places in your company, in your community? All you've got to do is plant that seed in your mind. Care for it. Work steadily toward your goal, and it will become a reality.
Dream chasing isn't for the serious. It's for the sincere. And the difference between being serious and being sincere is that serious people have a can-do attitude. Sincere people have a must-do attitude. That's how dreams become reality. They become a must. My children must survive. My life must change.
Now, if knowledge is power, if knowledge is the forerunner to success, then why do we fall short of our objectives? Do we find ourselves aimlessly wandering, settling for a life of existence rather than a life of substance? There may be many answers to this question. The fundamental answer is the absence of discipline.
Motivate doesn't mean to yell and scream and encourage. To motivate actually means to provide a motive, a reason why.
Picture yourself in your mind's eye as having already achieved this goal. See yourself doing the things you will be doing when you've reached your goal.
You know, what would you want from your friendships? What would you want from your intimate relationship? How would you like to structure your family? Well, how are you going to use your time outside of your job? And how are you going to regulate your mental and physical health, and maybe also your drug and alcohol use?
Typically, discouragement strikes at the midpoint of a project. Halfway up the mountain, you go, I still got to get to the top, and then I got to get all the way back. We get discouraged when something takes longer than I expected.
Once you start becoming aware of the power of thought, just look around you at everything that you see. It all began with a thought. We become what we think about. And that is probably one of the most important principles in learning to manifest. What we have to look at is basically the obstacles that we have conditioned ourselves. And you notice I say that we have conditioned ourselves, because I have never believed that we need to be putting the responsibility on someone else. If you're conditioned, it's because you have allowed yourself to become that.
You know, if you start with the presumption that there's a baseline of suffering in life and that can be exaggerated as a consequence of human failing, as a consequence of malevolence and betrayal and self-betrayal and deceit and all those things that we do to each other and ourselves that we know that aren't good, that amplifies the suffering. But you need something to put up against that. And what you put up against that is meaning. Meaning is actually the instinct that helps you guide yourself through that catastrophe. And most of that meaning is to be found in the adoption of responsibility.
Anticipation is the ultimate advantage. Winners, leaders anticipate, losers react. The reason you get beat is you don't know where things are happening, so you're reacting. Reaction is always stressful. And yet so much of our life is predictable if we just were to study it, not be caught up in our day-to-day. It's predictable the challenges you're going to have in your relationships or with your kids or with your body. These are predictable. And if you were to anticipate these things and put a strategy in place, you could take it all out and have the quality of life that you deserve. Those that anticipate, those that lead, and then there's those that follow. The followers are the reactionaries.
Things that look like they're going to overwhelm you, remember this phrase: you are stronger than you think. God knew it was coming. He's already put things on the inside that you can't see right now, but at the appointed time, you're going to push back the dirt. You're going to come out of what's holding you back. Not like you were, but you're going to bloom. Don't be fooled by the dirt. The dirt is getting you ready to flourish.
The system we live in and contribute to is designed to make the easiest things in life the most unprofitable. Our world is and always will be a constant battle between the life of ease and its momentary rewards and a life of discipline. Each has its own price, the price of discipline or the price of regret. We will pay one or the other.
Somebody said there's some good in the worst of us and some bad in the best of us. I want you to become involved in an active process to get some clutter out of your life. Start working on it. I'm going home tonight to clean my closet. Let's go home. Let that be our task this week.